Oh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2021 opening day edition of the
Mm-hmm.
Off the Cup with Hoppy and Hobbs. Guess what? Episode number 36, opening day of Major League Baseball. I even have got a text from TF like with fireworks saying opening day. It was amazing. Um, got to take a deep breath. So much stuff happened today in the first day of Major League Baseball.
I'll tell you what, I honestly felt like last season never stopped. Like we were back right at it. Like the team looked good today. They were exciting, and
What
you
team?
didn't cringe. The Padres.
Oh, yeah, it was cringeworthy in a couple spots, but it was all
Yeah,
right.
but you knew they were going to come back and handle it, and the bullpen would take over. I mean, it just the vibe. The vibe is so awesome right now.
Oh, it's Crone Dog, baby. It's all about Jake Cronenworth. That's it. It's all about the Crone Dog.
You know, he's
Okay.
looking over. He's looking over. He's going Tatis 340. What's up?
Yeah, I'm next. All right. So today's opening day. We have lots of things to go through. Man, the first home. Oh, you know what? I'm going to start this with an off the cup question because I know you're a big Ted
Oh
Williams
God,
fan.
let's
Ted
do it.
Williams. All right. How many RBIs in the postseason did Ted Williams have?
Postseason RBIs. Ted Williams. Well,
Okay. Who has more RBIs in the postseason, you Darvish or Ted Williams?
Ted Williams.
Nope. They're
It's a
both
tie.
tied. They're both tied at one.
That's
There you
great.
go. That's some trivia for everybody today. So I want, before we get into the Padres stuff, there's a ton of Padres stuff for today. I just want to go through some really cool baseball stuff. So today
Do it.
in Detroit, um,
Mm-hmm.
it was snowing. There was snow flurries in the game, and Miguel Cabrera hit the first home run of the year in
Uh-huh.
Detroit, and he hit a line drive through the snow to right field. The right fielder went up for it, jumped. It went over his glove, hit the pole, and
Uh-huh.
bounced back on the field.
So the ball was dashing through the snow.
It was dashing through the snow. It hit a pole, bounced back on the field. Nobody could see the ball. Miggy's running as fast as he can, sliding into second base. He slides into second with a pop-up slide, and that player goes, "It was a home run."
Oh, it was a home run. Well, you got to applaud the hustle. He's not taking anything for granted. And so you got Dirty hitting a home run at a boy.
Yeah. But the amazing thing, you had a snow flurry. You had Miggy running as hard as he can for a double that ended up being a home run. And it reminded me of a certain movie with the Oakland A's in it, with the guy that hit the home run and was chugging as hard as he could. But
Yeah, the guy. Yeah.
but
So hey, so quick question: Does he get crap in the clubhouse for sliding on a home run? Is that kangaroo
probably,
court material?
well, I'm pretty sure that if it wouldn't have been a home run, he would have been thrown out at second anyways. That's how slow he was.
Well, he's not small anymore. So
No, but
like
it
I
was
said,
pretty.
applaud the effort.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing to see. Also, we had our first COVID postponement, which was the Mets and Nationals, and they're going to take a couple of days off. The
Yeah.
Red Sox and Orioles were postponed for rain.
Mhm.
Fans are back in the stands.
It was hilarious. It was a sellout today, folks, in at Petco. 8,773.
Yeah, there were a lot
Sellout.
of empty seats.
It is funny because if you think back to like 1973, that was like a lot of people at a Potter game.
So my daughter told she's like, man, that's just like every other Thursday game when they play the Diamondbacks.
Right.
That's a normal crowd.
Yeah. Not anymore though.
Oh, not anymore, but 2 years ago when they were
But
playing the Diamondbacks on a weeknight.
you could have walked up and got right behind home plate.
Oh man, absolutely.
Like, hey, let's go to a Padre game. When's it start? 8 minutes. Let's go get some tickets.
Yeah, just walk right
Yeah.
in. The weirdest thing are the white boxes in the newly named Gallagher Square, and you got to go sit in the park in a little white box, and some of them you can't even see the field, so you're literally just paying to look at the scoreboard behind center field.
Right. It's like on video, big screen.
Yeah, so you can watch the game on a TV sitting in the grass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, getting a sunburn. That's
Yeah.
always fun. It was really fun Padre game today. We'll get into that in a second. One other quick hit from around the league. Cody Bellinger did something that you don't see every day today. Cody Bellinger hit a home run today. It was a 2-run homer,
Mhm.
and he was rounding. He went running hard, rounding first base. The left fielder goes up, reaches up, snags the home run, hits the wall. The ball falls out of his glove and into the stands for a home run. Justin Turner was running hard from first to third, saw the guy catch the ball, stopped, turned, and ran back to first, but he ran past Bellinger. So Bellinger was out. He got a single and an RBI
Yeah, man, talk
and
about
no home run and no 2 runs. And the Dodgers lost.
well, that sucks.
The loss doesn't, but losing a home run because of base running,
Yeah.
and it's not really
Well,
Turner's fault per
no,
se.
no. Well, I know a lot of Dodger fans are like, "Oh, it's no big deal." Little shout out to Spencer. Um, says we need to talk about the Dodgers more. Yeah, they lost, and this. How do you? I mean, that's breaking out the rule book deep on game
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And that's where you can't really fault him for it, but you have to talk about rules other than you're safe at first and you have to do this and do that. It's those other rules that most players in today's game have no clue about. None. So coaches, when you're out there, go ahead and talk about crazy stuff because
Yeah.
guess what? One time it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much that he didn't know the rule, that he thought he caught the ball because he saw him catch the
Mhm.
ball and he never saw the ball come out of his glove. And so he never thought he was running past Bellinger because he thought he was going back to first because he thought he was going to get thrown out.
Right. Where
So
was the first base coach?
you know, there's a
One
lot of
job.
things. So if you
One job.
go a little deeper into that game, the Dodgers had the bases loaded in the 9th inning, down by 3 with 2 outs. So with 1 out when the bases loaded, they put in a pinch hitter and he struck out looking, and he was pinch hitting in the 9th spot. Then the next batter was Mookie Betts.
Ooh, Mookie.
Mookie with the bases loaded, his team down by 3, 2 outs in the top of the 9th, hits a weak line drive to second base and ends the game.
Mm.
The first time the Dodgers haven't been over 500 since 2018. And they are officially 1 game behind the Padres in the standings.
And in last place. Let's just mind you that they're tied for last.
And they put the Rockies in a tie for first place.
Yeah, way to go, Rocks, Buddy Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what's I always and in any season that you start, you always want to get that first one, right? You get the first one. You go and lose tomorrow, hey, okay, but that first one, that's a winning streak in the making. You lose one, that's a losing streak in the making. And the mentality of your, especially so early, is we should be the best we are right now. We just did spring training. We're ready to go. And you come out and you win, man, okay, and you're gonna feel great. You're gonna sleep great. Everything's gonna be wonderful, especially if you had a good day. Hosmer, Crony, all these other guys. You lose and you did bad, and it's gonna. I mean, tomorrow's pressure for you. You
Yeah.
want to start the season over 8 with in 2 L's.
Yeah. So let's dig in a little bit to that Padre game. The Padre game today against the Diamondbacks. I almost said the Giants because Bumgarner was pitching. It was a really interesting game. Darvish was throwing well, but he didn't have an out pitch. He couldn't get the out with 2 strikes. Yes, he had some strikeouts, but there were a lot of foul balls with 2 strikes. Like he just couldn't finish off the hitters. And I'm not sure the umpiring really helped. Bumgarner got squeezed. So there were obvious strikes that were called balls and obvious balls called strikes today, and it really affected the game. It makes it hard for a player. There was an at bat where Tatis came up. He saw 5 pitches. The first 4 were all easily out of the strike zone. Then the count was 2-2. And
Right.
it forced him to swing at another pitch that was a ball because it was a breaking ball for a strikeout. And that's where the umpires can come in to affect the game. So when you see a high scoring game like this and you take a look at how the umpiring was inconsistent, I think that kind of led to that and the fact that Hosmer and Will Myers hit some pretty legit home runs today.
Yeah, on umpire thing, I watched most of that game today, and there's some calls you're like, okay, that's a ball, and then the next pitch is called a strike and wasn't one, and then he comes back and throws a strike, and then now that's a ball. Um, it changes the whole dynamic of the at bat. I mean, Voit before he hits the home run, check swings, and they say no. Next pitch, he hits a 2-run jack and ties the game, and it's you know, these are paid professionals, and you hope that they're bringing their A game, um, and not just thinking, okay, it's Padres, Diamondbacks, first game of the year, okay. No, this game is huge because if you're playing 162 and 163, this game meant a lot if an umpire screwed it up, you
Yeah.
know.
In the first or second inning of the game, one of the Padre players was batting. I didn't write it down, and my daughter and I were sitting there watching the game, and there was a check swing, and it was an obvious no swing, and I looked at her and I go, Angel Hernandez must be umpiring first base, and she's like, what? And then they go, and Angel Hernandez umpiring first base. I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh my God, my eyes hurt right now just
I was
thinking
like,
about that.
I was just like, I only said that because it was a really bad call because
Right.
he's clearly the worst umpire of baseball and
Hmm.
happened to be true. I was cracking
Wow.
up. I was cracking
Yeah.
up. But
Yeah, his name was in the news a lot this week.
yeah,
But
they threw out his lawsuit this week.
right.
Yeah.
So now what are you gonna do? You know,
Yeah.
totally brutalize the game before you get sent down to AAA?
Yeah. So a lot of good things in the Padre game. A lot
Yeah.
of good swings, a little bit of poor defense, a little bit of good defense.
Hmm.
Um,
I
Cronenworth,
enjoyed their at bats.
yeah,
Again, it's like they took the same mentality from last year, and it didn't stop. It's continuing, which is great because every at bat is a battle, 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 battle. And here's another thing. It just from a ball player's perspective, Will Myers is facing Bumgarner. And Bumgarner's still Bumgarner. I mean, he was actually throwing harder than he used to. He was throwing like 92 today. He's got that slider, and Will Myers had a great at bat, fouled off like 4 or 5 pitches, and then ends up working a walk. That positivity of that at bat for Will Myers led him next AB hits a bomb because he's like he can't get me. I just got to relax and just let it come to me. Boom, it hits a jack. One at bat can lead to the other. I mean, there's no secret to that. You have a bad at bat, it's going to lead to the next one. That's why you see guys that get 3 and 4 strikeouts a game because they're so mentally screwed from a previous at bat. But when you take this positive at bat, and I was really impressed with the way that Myers battled. The next AP comes up super confident, bam, home run.
yeah, they really worked the counts. They were aggressive swinging, but they really worked the counts. The pitchers had to throw
Hmm.
a lot of pitches to get them out.
Yep. And what I mean, there weren't a lot of well, other than the first inning, but um, the
Other than
rest of the game, they worked those counts. I mean, they're seeing 5, 6 pitches in AB, and that's awesome for a hitter. The
yeah,
more you see, the better.
and you saw Manny Machado hitting the ball hard again and getting out,
Hmm.
and that's okay. Keep hitting the ball hard.
Yep.
He consistently hits the ball hard all
Yep.
game long.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's pretty good for a team that came into the game with 10 players on the injured list. And I kind of wanted to go through this with you.
Mhm.
So when you take a look at the injured list, you have Michael Baez, who just went on the 60-day injured list because he's having Tommy John surgery. He's going to miss the whole
TJ,
season.
yeah,
You got Jorge Ona, who's on the 10-day IL, and you don't know whether he's going to come back to the team or if he's going to go to alternate site.
probably alternate.
You have Lamette, who's going to come back. He's on the 10-day IL. I'm assuming he's going to be out for probably a month, or at least two more weeks. And he's
I
going to,
think he's a iffy after that 10. If the Padres are doing well and the pitchers are doing well, I think they keep him off
well,
and and extend it.
what I'm thinking is they're going to bring him back and go to a 6-man rotation because they play 24
Yes.
games in 25 days.
Yes, I agree, and that would be a good move. It really would.
Yeah.
That way, it gives the guys an extra day rest, and let's be honest. And as you continue through that list, but if the starters for the Padres can go 5, 6 innings, oh, you're golden. You're
Yeah.
golden. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you got a bunch of relief pitchers, and not necessarily all of these, but a bunch of pitchers that are in your relief core that are out of options. So, as a relief pitcher on the IL, you got Pierce Johnson, you got Javi Guerra, he's out of options. Matt Strom, Dan Altavilla, and Austin Adams. All of
Wow.
all of them are on the 10-day IL. Uh, Something's got to give.
Man, there
They're either going
there's
to have
some
to send down a
there's some
position
serious
player.
choices.
Yeah, they're going to have to send down a position player and add an extra pitcher, or
Man.
you know, I don't know, because the pitchers are out of options, so they're going to have to pass through waivers, and there's a good chance these guys aren't passing through
Oh,
waivers.
well, I probably almost all of those will get picked up if they go to waiver, somebody will pick them up.
I think
They're
Javi Guerra might be the only one that doesn't get picked up, but since he's so young and throws so hard, he might.
oh yeah, you
Yeah.
tell me Cincinnati, you tell me the Rockies, all the teams that are projected to be lower level ball clubs won't pick that guy up for league minimum. Hell yeah, they would.
Yeah, and then you have two two more starting position players that are out, which is Austin Nola, the catcher who has a broken finger, and then Trent Grisham, their center fielder. So
Well, those guys are definitely coming back.
yeah. So
Um,
and then they already sent down O'Grady, and they have
Mateo.
Marcano and Mateo
Mhm.
and Profar and Kim. So two of those guys have to go down.
Well, it's not
Or
going to be Kim.
Camposano. They could send down Camposano too, the catcher.
Yeah, I don't think you're sending Kim or Popar. Those guys are staying up. So those
Mar-
younger guys,
Marcano had such a great at bat and drew that walk, and
yeah, yeah. But you know what? I mean, that also leads to, hey, you've got some time to make a name for yourself up here.
yeah.
And so, if this happens again, boom, you're up, and we don't have to go another option. If we know we got you down there ready to go, say, you've seen it where guys get halfway through the season, they just get released. These veteran guys or guys that you're expecting, and all of a sudden they just get released and they bring up a rookie. Those guys have to make that decision difficult for an organization. If not, that guy's going to stick up there because, well, we got nothing else down on the farm. So it's a good situation, because especially if they're tearing it up and the Padres start looking to trade something to even improve it more, those are pieces. Those are pieces. So
Yeah, and not just that. When you want to look to 2022, you have Jose Castillo, Trey Wingenter, Nick Birdie, who they signed on a minor league contract, and you have Clevenger coming back.
well, can we just win the World Series now and start 22 with everyone healthy?
Well, just take a step back and look that they have 10 players on the IL. Pretty much 7 of them are big league players and could be coming back, and they scored 8 runs today.
Yeah. Yeah. And other than the one inning, they pitched lights out.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
really,
they would have given up, 3 less runs if there wasn't one error
at least.
by a
Yeah,
shortstop.
at least. So, like, it's exciting, because every move's going to be a positive move. There's no negative moves being made. They're all positive, and they're all going to make them better. So, yeah, I was just really impressed with the way they played today. And in no time did I think there was any sort of panic,
There wasn't.
No,
No, there
and
wasn't.
that was great. That's such a different mentality, you know, and especially now having fans in the stands. I mean, there was only 8,700, but it sounded like there was 45. It was really cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, when they went down 1-0, they weren't worried about scoring a run,
No, no,
you know.
no.
And
There was
and
there
and
weren't any pressure at bats for them.
no. And sitting and
No,
sitting and watching the game, you're just waiting, okay, who's going to be the first guy to hit a home run to tie the game?
right,
Right? It wasn't like, oh man, will we be able to score one like it was 4 years ago? Will we score a run?
And you talk about players. We signed Hosmer a few years ago, and I was like, why are we getting Hosmer? We're not even close to being that type of team yet. but he was a piece. I mean, he's unreal on opening day. He's unreal. He's got 9 RBIs in the last 2 opening days. But if you watch him through a season, yeah, he makes so many plays, and that mentality. He was the first guy to talk to Tatis after swinging 3-0. He's a big piece. But Myers, first of all, can we talk about the number switch?
Yes.
Which was an 11:59 decision that Myers gives Snell number 4.
I'm pretty sure he didn't give it to him.
No, I guarantee that probably you'll never get the answer of what he's doing, how much it cost him, or what he has to do for it. But I can almost like imagine Myers going, "I'm going to wait until the last day, and then I'll give it to him." So he goes to 5, right?
Yep.
And hits a bomb. Love it. He looks so good at the plate.
Not a bad day. Not a bad day.
Yep.
So it was a great day of Padre baseball. We got the first save by Melanson. We got to see all the relievers. We got to see Darvish throw. I guess he didn't pitch poorly. He just couldn't get strike 3. He couldn't get the out pitch.
No. And in retrospect, I mean, he was a solid 4.
Yeah.
I mean, he was money. And if you look at the speed differentials, he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's 96, 97 with 83 curveball, 69.
Yeah, 75.
He threw a 69 mile an hour curveball and came back with a 97 mile an hour fastball, and then threw in an 86 mile an hour cutter. And you're like, how can you get a read on this guy? Only mistakes. That you're going to hit his mistakes, but he doesn't make many mistakes. So very excited to watch him pitch a full season with the Padres. And there was just a lot of really good things today.
Yeah, it was fun.
Really.
All right, another off the cup for Hoppy. Here we go. Off the cup.
Jeez.
How many former Padres are on the Indians opening day roster?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Okay. Hedges. I'm going to say 5.
5. Okay. I'm going to say 7.
Oh my goodness.
All right. I'm going to name them off for you. You ready?
Third of the team. All right, go for it.
You got Logan Allen.
All right. Yeah.
You got Phil Maton.
Oh my goodness.
Oliver Perez.
Oliver. Dude, he's got to be 50.
Yeah. Oliver Perez. Cal Quantrill.
Uh-huh.
Hedges.
Uh-huh.
Josh Naylor.
Uh-huh.
And the Franimal.
Vermeil's going to hit 40. If he's D8, he'll hit 40.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's 4 or 5 Padres on the Mariners opening day roster too. Yeah, Franimal, man, he's going to hit 3. He's going to hit around 300. He might hit 35 to 45 home runs this year.
Yeah.
He's the man.
No, yeah, and you watch, Quantrill's going to step up too. I think he'll do just fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he was young when he was with us, but it kind of seemed like he was always young. It was like 3 seasons or whatever. You're like, just break through. But I think he's going to do well, especially being around guys like Bieber. I think he's going to do real well.
Yeah, I think he's still young.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like Padres brought up so many young guys. Now he's just sort of young. Does that make sense? Of course it does.
He's way younger than you, so.
Hey.
All right.
That is definitely a cup check.
A cup check. All right. One other thing that happened in the last couple of days that we haven't talked about yet was Francisco Lindor's contract.
This is awesome.
So Lindor gets 10 years, $341 million from the Mets at 27.
Yes. So he's going to be, well, the DH is coming in next year. So he'll be a 37-year-old DH first baseman.
Isn't he like 5'8"? You're going to have a 37-year-old 5'10" or 5'8" former shortstop DH. He's not A-Rod.
Yes, I will. It's a smaller strike zone.
He gets more walks.
Yeah. Well, he'll bulk up and just worry about hitting jacks at that point. But I know there's a lot of deferred money in it.
55 million. He's almost Bonilla.
Right. But that's the running joke is Even after Lindor's contract, the Mets still owe Bobby Bonilla money. It's still the greatest contract ever.
Yeah,
Bobby Bonilla's agent's a genius.
$1 million
Um,
every year.
every year. Um, Now, what was interesting, and there was a lot of backlash for this, was he went to dinner with Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, and slid him over a contract offer, 10 years, 325. And he goes, man, I'm not going to do it. And everyone's like, how can you turn down $325 million? And then he signs for 341, 41, not 340, like Tatis, 341. So he's got the third highest volume contract in history. Um, he's gonna do so many great things for that organization. Um, there really isn't a negative about him. He plays hard. He's been a winner. He's good. He's got a great smile, and he's in New York. Um, he's gonna bring a sort of class to the Yankees, or to the Mets, excuse me, that the Yankees had with Jeter. Now you got Lindor over with the Mets. So I think it's a PR along with the player, along with the age. I mean, 27, you're going to get probably 6, 7 good years out of that, maybe 34. Um, but he's a guy that you're going to build around, and you still got Pete Alonso. I mean, you've got some pieces over there, and you got an owner who's a billionaire that's not afraid to spend money. So
Yeah, I would have never done this deal. Not for that. Not at his age. Not after he hasn't taken one at bat with the Mets. He did a great job of saying we're not signing you unless you sign me before this preseason,
mhm.
spring training ends. That was genius on his part. Um, don't know what he's going to be, if he's going to be able to handle New York, if he's going to have the New York jinx. He was coming
Yeah,
from Cleveland, where there's the press is okay, but New York, man, when he goes 0 for 1,
the
he's gonna be on the back page before the game's over. you know,
yeah, I
so
I think he's going to be just fine. Like I said, I think because he's not he's still on the way up, and he's already got so much experience. I actually think the New York media is going to love him because I think he knows how to handle an interview where the team's struggling or whatever. Um, if they do, so I don't know. I think it's a good mix. I really do. It'd be the same situation if the Yankees signed him. You know, it would be the same scenario there. But I think he's going to be more beloved over in New York, especially if they start playing well.
as opposed to the other New York.
Yeah. Well,
Just
but
kidding.
if the Yankees no, if the Yankees don't win the World Series, I mean, they're they're ticked off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They're ticked off if they're not in the World Series. I mean, heads were going to roll when they lost to the Astros in Game 7 of the ALCS, and it's like you're one game away from the World Series. Well, that's not good enough. This is the Yankees. So I think that mix of Lindor in with the Mets, and it's the same scenario. If their pitching would just be healthy, they would be tremendous. And they've got young talent with Alonso. The guy's going to be a phenom. Um, I don't know. I'm okay, especially with deferred money. I'm okay because you're going to get 6, 7 really good years of All Star Gold Glove shortstop, which has been a
Oh,
problem for them.
yeah. I agree. If I was Lindor, this is the greatest deal ever.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just surprised that the owners are handing these types of deals out. They must be really expecting their next TV contracts to be insane. That's the only
Well,
way.
yeah,
That's the only way you can justify the money that they're spending on some of these players right now. And not to say Lindor's not, a top 5 shortstop, because he is, right? He's
right. Well, I also think is this is where COVID jumps in again. Once they get the majority of people being vaccinated and majority of people, herd immunity, whatever you want to say, people are going to go to the ballpark this summer, and they won't care if it's a Wednesday afternoon. They're going because they haven't had baseball. So um, I think they're banking on a lot of stadiums selling out, a lot of merchandise, the bigger TV contracts, because now you have something to show other than cornhole.
Come on, that's the greatest show on TV.
You're not getting 60,000 in a tournament to watch cornhole, but you're going to get 60,000 watching Tatis and Lindor and these great young talents. So I think that's a big bank by MLB is, okay. And these owners are like, well, we've been through the toughest part. It's only going to go up from here. We're okay. I mean, the Padres,
That's yeah,
340,
yeah. It's
Mets, 341.
as long as they don't have a work stoppage, they're going to be fine. If they do not start next season on time, you're going to have some problems.
Yes. Yeah. But hey, in the light of things, we're going to cross that bridge when we get there and just focus on 2021 and get those stadiums open and people in the stands.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay!
Go for it.
I mean, I saw Will Myers get a foul ball. A ball popped up into his hand. He threw it to the person in the stands. I was like, it's baseball's back. They were talking earlier. I was watching one of the earlier games, and they were talking about one of the players who would just take the ball and chuck it as hard as he could at a cardboard cutout in between every inning. Like, those aren't cutouts. You can't do it anymore.
They're real. They're real.
Those are real people. Don't throw the ball in the stands.
That's great. Yeah, I think every broadcaster mentioned those are actually real people in the stands this afternoon. No cardboard cutouts. See, but that's where if we had our business still of was it GoPro and fake stands, we could still get season ticket holders at games right now.
I'm telling you, if these teams were smart, they would have sold all of the middle seats to cardboard cutouts and still filled up the whole stadium. Like,
so smart, dude.
You could have think about how much money they could have made selling cardboard cutouts in the spaces that they can't put people.
Yeah. Remember we talked about GoPro in the eyes, and you get your picture of you, and you put you in your seat, and you get the vision of being there.
The GoPro's a little expensive, and if the Wi-Fi spotty, you're in trouble.
Well, they have free Wi-Fi at the stadium.
Yeah, but
password.
I don't know. 30,000 GoPros might just bring it down a little bit. All right, so an amazing first day of baseball. Yes. Padres are in first place. Dodgers are in last. Aaron Judge hit into a double play with the bases loaded. Stanton struck out with runners on base. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. looks humongous. He looks like Prince Fielder. Saw Bo Bichette make a great play. Saw Kevin Biggio not do too much in the first three at bats. I don't know what he did later. It was fun to see baseball that counted.
Yeah. And somewhat normal, you never realize how much you miss something until it's gone. And then you're like, dang, I totally missed this. But today felt like as normal as it's been, well, in a year. I mean, here we are. It's a year later, 36 episodes later. A year later, we finally have fans in the stands in most stadiums, and it feels almost like, hey, we're almost back. We're almost back.
You got to remember, COVID gave birth to this podcast. If it wasn't
for
COVID, if it wasn't for COVID, it wouldn't exist.
Thank you. I guess. Yeah. What are you grateful for? COVID
because
it started my podcast.
I wouldn't have a podcast without it.
I mean, honestly, it's true. That's crazy to actually think about. But
you know what? The only reason why I say that is because we would have never found the time to do it, even though we wanted to. We've been talking about it
forever,
but we
should
never
do our
did.
Thing.
But we never did it because we never had the time, and COVID gave us the time.
Yeah.
All right, I think there was a couple of other things we want to talk about today. One of them, I think, Hoppy, you want to talk a little about some high school baseball that's going on around the world.
A little shout out because all this stuff that's going on. One of the major hits was high school and college baseball, and now that we're in a whatever tier, they're allowing baseball again, and it is just been a mad rush. I mean, you've got all sports are playing right now.
Oh,
Football,
it's insane.
everything's playing, and I feel for the parents that I have kids that they go from football practice to baseball practice, or they go from a baseball game and then the next day they have a football game, and these kids, I mean, as much as they love it, I mean, geez, it's got to be rough. But the other side of it is the scouting side, where I'm at. The Lions tournament, the longest running high school baseball tournament in the nation. Um, they today's championship day, so there were games all over San Diego County. For the last 3 days, it's baseball, 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 and there are scouts that are finally being able to come watch games, and brass is just flying in because they finally get to see a kid that was a stud as a sophomore, or a junior, that they've never seen play before, and he's highly touted it. He's gone to showcases, and then they're coming out to see a kid throw 2 innings, you know, just so they say, okay, I got to look at him, because you see a kid on video and you're like, okay, well, there's so much more that goes into scouting, and this is why I hope organizations don't just scrap the whole idea of scouting, because having me watching from behind the backstop and seeing how he acts in the dugout, these kids now have that opportunity right now to be out there. But the time frame, instead of 40 games or 30 games, a scout may only see you play twice, just because I got to hit everybody, I got to see every team. Where instead of it being strung out for 3.5 months, I've got a month and a half to see everybody.
Yeah, and it's really rough for the players in all sports from California because most of the other rest of the country has been playing, and
Yeah.
everybody's been seen, and they've been
Hmm.
able to see people in Texas and Florida and all the rest
Hmm.
of the country. And here we are in California. It's like, okay, everything's getting crammed into 80 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not
Literally, it's
and not just high school. You got club, high school, all going on at the same time,
yep.
because nobody's been able to play it all. And then all of it opened up. And what's really sad, at least in the soccer world, is we're starting to see a ton of injuries and bad ones.
Yeah.
And because it's just too much. Kids playing high school soccer, kids playing club soccer at the same time, because everybody wants to play.
Hmm.
And hopefully in other sports that's not happening, but we've seen
Yeah.
some pretty bad injuries because of it, the overwork.
Well, I just hope the draft for baseball this year is going to be a minimum of 20 rounds. It'll be interesting to see if they add on that secondary free agent where you can sign them for 20 after, say they only do 20 rounds, and these kids that now have gotten really passed up for the last 2 years that were draft eligible. I mean, junior college isn't even playing, and those are dudes that are ready to go. They hey, I had a chance to go D1. I want to get drafted next year. I'm stronger, whatever. Now they've missed 2 seasons, and it's so it's got to be disheartening that all this hard work, potentially you're just going to get passed up because there's going to be so many people in the pool to pick from. And yes, it's great that they're open and they're playing, but that time frame, that window to get seen is so little, that I mean, you really got to be a standout every time you're on the field, and you got to tear it up just to get that look to say, okay, I'll spend more time seeing you, um, because there really isn't that much opportunity for scouts and recruiters to go and see anybody. So I feel for that high school senior, and I feel for that junior college player, that freshman and sophomore, because there's just not going to be a lot of spots open.
Yeah,
And
yeah, and it's not just that. You've got the, like you briefly mentioned, recruiting. You essentially have 2 years of college recruits being recruited at the same time,
Mhm.
because the O5s are hitting now and the O4s basically lost a whole year. So unless you
Yeah,
were at the top of the top, you know, you're still not committed to a college.
right. And that's
And
where you hope you hope the junior colleges will get back after it.
Well, there's a problem there too, right? So you have everybody in junior college hasn't played, so they haven't used any eligibility. You
Mhm.
have the NCAA giving an extra year of eligibility back to everybody, and you have 2 years of high school players coming out trying to get all those spots where there's 3 years of players.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're starting to see, and I know this for a fact, is this gap year league that's started up where guys maybe going to school but they're not playing, and they're playing in another league um, to get their work in and not costing a year of eligibility, so that they'll go in, they'll have their units for school, but they haven't spent any athletic eligibility. And those are popping up, especially Midwest and East Coast. There's a bunch of these leagues that are starting up, and teams are starting up because otherwise these guys got nowhere to go. They got nowhere to play. Um, and like I said, this is one of the downfalls is there's so many athletes and so little opportunity, unless you know big time colleges or any college just goes, look, you weren't getting drafted anyway. I don't have a spot for you. If that happened, okay, then you've got guys, then they'll have spots. But in talking to some of these coaches, they've already got guys on the hook, and they're having to tell some of these guys, go, look, your scholarship's taken up. I don't have anything for you. And that's got to be such a tough decision or a conversation that happens, um, because you brought that kid there and the parents wanted them to play for you because it's the best opportunity for education and maybe a chance to go pro. And you got to tell a kid, look, I've got, 8 freshmen coming in and I need their scholarship, because colleges aren't giving more money.
No, they're
They're
not.
giving eligibility. They're not giving more money.
But there are some schools that are honoring the scholarships for the older players and cutting the scholarship for the younger players. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
So where the younger players are being told, you know what, so and so decided to come back, or these 4 players decided to come back. So I don't have the scholarships because we don't have any extra money. So you're free to find something else.
Yeah. And I know a few of those players too, and it's so disheartening
I
because they're
couldn't
like,
I couldn't imagine those kids that have gone out and bought all their sweatshirts. They got their stickers on their car. They're super excited about going to college, and then they get that call.
yeah, yep. I mean, I've had a few call me going, "Hey, do you know of any place?" Because they told me to go to a JC, and then 3 weeks later, the JC gets shut down, and they're like, "What do I do?" I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody's pretty much full.
Yeah, and
So,
you couldn't even find a baseball field to play on. Like if you wanted to put 2 teams together to go play games,
right?
you couldn't even find a field to play on. Not
No,
legally,
yeah,
you know.
not legally, or unless it was on private property.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's April, and some people have only played 5 games. You know, and like I said, that opportunity for some of these guys that can go pro and have the talent to go pro, they haven't been seen.
Yeah.
There's not enough to pull from to say, yeah, I'm going to give you $100,000 and draft you in the 5th round.
Yeah. And on top of that, they shrunk the minor leagues. So now there's even less spots.
Right. So if those independent leagues decide to expand even more, because they may find out that they have an open tryout and there's going to be 250 guys there.
Yeah, but
You know,
they need the fans to support it so that they can have
right?
more teams. And so it's really going to come down, will the fans support independent baseball? And that's a coin flip. In some cities
It's
they
going to
will,
be.
you know.
Yeah, no, it's tough because I mean, you and I both played in places that had affiliated minor leagues, and then the next year, here comes an independent team, and it's nowhere even close as far as the attendance and the support from the community. There's a lot of minor league teams that don't have teams this year that they're going to be substituted with a college summer team, and they're like, "What is this?" We're
Yeah.
just a double A. So. Um, yeah, I guess you can say, hey, it was a sign of the times and something we had to do. But as far as throwing a wrench in the system, this definitely did do it. You know, But
Yeah.
we did get this podcast, and that's all that matters.
Yeah. And we got a Padres win today on opening day.
Oh, sorry. I've been waiting to wear this jersey for like a month now.
Did they?
This is my Bad News Bears Chico Bail Bonds Tanner number 12 jersey. Check this out. Woo!
Yeah,
Yeah.
But did they lose to in the Astro Stadium, or were they allowed to come back and win the game? That's all that really matters.
You know, it's a technicality. Yeah. But I
All
love
right,
the
man.
jersey.
This is our comeback podcast. We're ready for the season. We've taken a little bit of time off. We're going to be in our new studio in the next couple weeks,
Yes.
ready to rock and roll back side by side,
Mhm.
wearing masks or something of the sort, or 12 feet apart, or whatever the rules are now.
Well, if you look, where is it? Right here. Where is it? See, we got that divider right there. See, shield right there.
Oh, it's different on my screen. It's
Yeah. See, I'm backwards.
All right, man. Great podcast. I had a great time. Episode
Oh.
number 36, opening day. We talked recruiting. We talked Padres. We talked Miggy sliding into second on a home run.
So awesome.
All
right.
It's been a great day, and there's still games going on. I can't wait to get back to the TV and watch some more games.
I know. Now it's fall asleep to ESPN every night watching baseball highlights.
And you know what we didn't even talk about?
What?
We didn't even talk about Dean Spanos's daughter trying to get the Chargers sold to pay off their debt.
Oh, I can't wait. That needs to be like a pay-per-view, because that's going to it's going to blow crazy stuff, because she just wants the money now. She's like, screw the football team. I just want my money. So what happens to the Chargers? Oh, can't wait.
And the Twitter rumors are great.
Oh, the drama.
So great.
I'm fired up.
You got people posted on Twitter that Jeff Bezos is going to buy the Chargers and move it back to San Diego.
Oh my goodness.
It's not true.
But are they going to tear down the new stadium that they build
and put up a
bigger one?
No, they're just going to retrofit it and add 75,000 more seats, and it'll look exactly like the Murph.
Beautiful. Do it.
But with
San Diego.
But with better scoreboards and maybe some drains that work instead of just draining water right into somebody's seat.
There you go.
Yeah. I remember going to a game and there was a drain pipe right above somebody's seat under the overhead, and the water was just in like a 2-inch circle just straight into the seat.
Yeah, they didn't think about that very well. They just said, "Oh, let's drain the plaza level and
right here,
Loge.
right here, straight down,
right on second row."
Just like a Raiders fan was throwing up or something.
Well, I did drive by what used to be Jack Murphy Stadium. Oh God, it was just heart wrenching, dude. You just see the perimeter where the gates were and nothing in it, and just a pile of dirt and rubble. And I was like, oh, it made me sick. So this new stadium better be awesome, because
you won't be able to see a World Series game against the Yankees in the new stadium, and you won't be able to reminisce about it. So that's the sad part.
Yep.
I just hope they have a plaque on wherever that parking lot is, or street corner, or middle of a building of where home plate was.
Yeah, they better.
I hope they have that.
Do it. Make it happen. Come on.
Even if it's on the top of a building or something, or
exactly.
on the bottom floor of a building that just showed, and the spot where Garvey's home run hit.
Gotta have Garvey's home run. Right. Yeah. Good stuff, man. So much more. Just love it's going to be season.
It's going to be like this for the rest of the season. Padres games till October, maybe November.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Excellent.
Okay. That means it's time to.
I guess it's time to sign off with that one there, folks. We're out of here.
Woo. All right. Talk to you later, people.